Hello, welcome to Lost in Movies. I'm Alec Kerr, and I'm joined by
Sawyer, Flavin.
And we are going to be reviewing Ready or Not, Here I Come, Ready or Not 2. Very excited about this. I was very excited. When I heard about this movie, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see it. Did not let me down. So check out the trailer.
The game will begin.
They're coming. They're coming. Oh my God.
In 5, 4, 3, 2. Do you have any questions?
Can I have a cigarette?
The heads of the council families will try to kill you and your sister. Whoever does wins the high seat and controls everything.
Everything?
The world.
You're telling me you didn't know your fiancé was in a devil cult?
So it begins.
Oh, man.
So, what did you think?
I was so pleasantly surprised. So one thing I've been doing with movies is I've actually stopped watching trailers, and I like to go into it blind. And I knew the premise of, obviously, the first movie. I saw it and I loved it. It's one of my favorite of this genre. And I went into it blind, and boy, was I just along for one hell of a ride.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
This might seem odd, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of the John Wick franchise. In the sense of the first one, you kind of get a hint of this bigger world and all these rules. And then in the sequels, all of a sudden you see there's all these like rules and policies and things you have to do. And that's what kind of happens here, where you have this council for the Labale, who's basically the devil. I think he's the devil. Or at the very least, he's a high-ranking demon within hell. And because Samara Weaving's character, Grace, killed the family that she married into, it triggered this thing where the seat for the High Council was up for grabs. And that meant that she has to do hide and seek all over again. But her sister, Faith, played by Kathryn Newton, is there because she was her emergency contact when she was in the hospital, and that's how she got roped into it. And I love Kathryn Newton, and I think them as a pair of sisters is just perfect casting. It's completely believable.
Oh yeah, no, they had great on-screen chemistry for sisters. I mean, like there were moments where I was like, "Yep, they're sisters."
Yeah, and they're estranged, and so they have that like sibling rivalry where they're like bantering with each other. They can't stand each other, and it feels really authentic. And so I really liked them together. And this also has a really great cast of just absolute icons.
Oh, absolutely.
You have Sarah Michelle Gellar and Elijah Wood in this, and David Cronenberg, the legendary director, David Cronenberg. It's a small role, but just the fact that he's kind of like gracing this movie with his presence, almost like giving it his blessing, like this is worthy of my presence.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see him, and Elijah Wood plays the lawyer.
Yeah, Hell's lawyer.
Yeah, and I saw this with my wife Ashley, and we were like, what was his deal? And we were like, well, David Cronenberg said, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, and they said the last time there had been a scenario like this where the council seat was up was in the 60s, so pretty sure he's immortal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Elijah Wood in the interview was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's immortal. I think he's just a demon from hell who's a lawyer. And isn't that true of all lawyers?
Oh, a little bit of a demon in him.
Sean Hatosi, I think his name is, plays Sarah Michelle Gellar's brother in this.
Titus, yeah.
Yeah, and he slowly becomes absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think he had a hint of it at the beginning. He had that classic case of everybody treating him like a child, and you watch that character snap, and then they become who they really were. And to watch that was great because you not only watch as the viewer, you watch it, but you also watch the sister go through the same roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, you just see Sarah Michelle Gellar's face just looking at him being like, oh my God. I thought I knew him, but no.
Oh no.
This is one of those like horror movies that's kind of just like, oh, you're here for the ride, it's fun, it's campy, it's silly. But when he like legit goes crazy and just starts beating the crap out of Kathryn Newton, I was like, this is a lot.
Yeah, one thing I find, like, with movies of this gratuitous violence, you find that there's usually a line that they don't cross, whereas this, I feel like Titus's character was almost breaking that formula.
Yeah. Because this is the kind of movie where people literally explode into giant explosions of blood.
Yeah.
But like I was just like, oh, geez. Like, so you really freaking hate him.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's why they did push it that far, because they make it clear he is completely irredeemable.
And it's interesting because, everyone is the enemy, but he becomes one of the ultimate enemies.
Yeah. They're like some of them, and this was kind of true of the first Ready or Not, where they're all like grossly incompetent. Like they don't know how to actually hunt somebody to death.
Yep.
But he's not that. Like he is a hardened psychopath. And Sarah Michelle Gellar isn't a hardened psychopath, but she's actually competent. Everybody else is just a complete imbecile who can't do anything right. Yeah,
I loved the little throw-in of the first character who attacks in the hospital. I like that actor. I can't
Kevin
remember.
Durand.
Yes. He did a great job of playing, a coked up rich person.
And it almost kind of felt like a nod to Halloween 2, which was set in a hospital with the killer coming in and stalking. So that made me kind of like, oh, that's kind of an interesting nod there.
Yeah.
He does not, spoiler, he does not last long.
I actually found out, so the people that I went with, a couple of my friends, were talking about it after the movie, and they were like, oh yeah, like I saw his explosion in the trailer. And I'm like, they give too much away in the trailers these days.
I mean, you didn't specifically see that it was him that exploded. You
just saw
an explosion. But, like, context clues, when you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, I know what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
And there's just also a lot of, like, fun here. Like, this is the kind of the sequel formula of just do more. And so there's just more characters. They're from all over the world. And there's a pair of brothers from London who are just complete imbeciles, but they're a lot of fun. And like one of them's so cowardly, like he has his wife go hunt for him instead. And so I really liked all those characters. There's an actor who plays the cousin of Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Hatosy or whatever his name is. Sorry, sir, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. And he's on the show Ginny and George. That's where I recognize him from. So I was really excited to see him get like a big role in a movie. And he was very funny because he's just like watching it, just not wanting to be part of it at all, just kind of sitting around in a robe drinking cocktails the entire time.
Yeah, they do such a great job with this film of making the viewer comfortable with the premise because it is so dark.
Yeah.
And one thing I found is that I always think of movies, especially movies that come out, like the second one, this is 7 years later.
Yeah.
You worry that it's going to suffer from sequel syndrome, as I like to call it. But I can't say enough that I was blown away with how much fun I had watching this movie.
Yeah. And I do think it's interesting because I was like, is there something of depth here? And what I kind of hooked into is it is a story of siblings because you have the Grace and Faith, and then you have Sarah Michelle Gellar and her brother. And so you have them kind of going on different paths where one relationship is coming back together and getting stronger, and the other relationship's falling apart. So that was my okay, maybe there's something there that's a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting to put the parallels together and see where the paths differ, because Grace and Faith are not nice to each other.
No.
They are a classic case of sisters. And, you know, I think they did such a great job. I've seen Kathryn Newton, is that her name?
Yeah.
I've seen her in a handful of things, and I've really enjoyed her. She also was in another movie along the same lines, a very dumb one, called Freaky.
I love Freaky.
It's this genre that I like, the campy, silly horror movies.
Yeah. And it's a body swap, which, like, the idea of a body swap movie with a serial killer, I'm like, why did it take so long for that to be a thing?
Yeah.
And the fact that it was a serial killer into a teenage girl.
Yep.
Yeah. I was just like, this is right up my alley.
Yeah,
Love it.
absolutely. I haven't seen, call back to the last episode, but I haven't seen, I believe she was in a Frankenstein.
Yes. Lisa Frankenstein.
Yep.
Which, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people saw it. It didn't do very well. It was directed by Zelda Williams, which is Robin Williams' daughter.
Oh, I did not know that.
But I really like it. I rewatched it, and it's set in the 80s, and it's just this, like, emo kind of gothy girl who, by accident, resurrects this guy from, like, the 1800s and slowly starts piecing him back together using a tanning bed.
Perfect.
And it kind of feels like Heathers meets Edward Scissorhands.
Okay. I like the vibe.
So, yeah, and it's a whole vibe. That's definitely, like, the word for it. Like, I feel like it will find, like, a following. I feel like emo, goth, like, misfit people will find this movie and just adore it.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to take some time, though.
Yeah. Films they don't get the same light that they used to.
No.
We're bogged down by sequels and remakes, and there's a lot of movies that we're getting that we might not need.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm still gonna go to the movies every week.
Yeah, I love going to the movies. And the directors of this, I wrote their names down because I wanted to make sure I say that right. It's Matt Bettinelli, Olpin, and Tyler Gillett. They go by Radio Silence. And in addition to Ready or Not, they also directed Scream 5 and 6, so things connecting back to their last episode. And Abigail, which I wanted to talk about as well, because Kevin Durand was also in that movie.
Yep.
And I don't want to spoil it, but I think, unfortunately, it's out there what the premise is.
Yeah.
Because the way the movie's structured, like the first 45 minutes, it just looks like it's a movie about a group of criminals kidnapping a little girl who's a ballerina and holding her for ransom. About 45 minutes in, it pivots into something entirely different.
Yep.
And it is so gory and so interesting. And so, I mean, I guess it's out there. The little girl's a vampire.
Yep.
And
I think it's been long enough that people knew, because it did get a lot of speculation and also just a lot of talk about it because it was such a fun story.
yeah. And these directors just love things blowing up and blood going everywhere, because when the vampires die in that movie, it's the same thing as Ready or Not. It's just a giant explosion and blood goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Which I'm here for. I love it.
Oh, absolutely.
More people exploding into blood is fantastic. But what I really, Kathryn Newton was also in that. So they really like using the same people, which I like when directors find people they like and keep using them.
Yep.
So Kathryn Newton was in Ready or Not 2. Kevin Durand was in Ready or Not 2. But there was a little bit of, like, sort of vampire lore that was new that I'd never really seen before, which was the idea that a vampire bites you and you don't necessarily instantly become a vampire, but then they can kind of possess you and use you as a puppet, which I'd never seen before, and I thought that was really interesting.
So I have done a lot of fantasy reading, and one thing that theme has come up time and over time is that they like call them, in the books it's like a thrall, like that's just the terminology they use, and it's you're you're essentially their puppet. You
Yeah.
know, they get to do with you what they want.
They speak
and
through you, and
that's scary as heck.
yeah, yeah, because she kept like testing, like going into the sunlight and being like, oh, okay, I'm not a vampire. Oh, I have a reflection, and then when she's turned, that's it, she's gone.
Yep.
And I don't read a lot of fantasy, but I don't think I'd ever seen it done in a film before.
Yes. Yeah. No, I do believe that it's something unique to its own, because the vampire genre in itself is kind of, it's more shiny Edward style.
Like right now, at least, yeah.
There is a resurgence of Interview with a Vampire. I haven't personally seen the new TV series, but
Yeah, I
I've heard
haven't
great
either.
things.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great vampire story because it goes back to the classics of being controlled by a vampire, of the just certain aspects of like her vampirism.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And the fact that she set this all up to have all these people there just so she, as she says, can play with her food.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, she didn't have to do that, but she needs some entertainment.
Yeah, she is a little girl after all.
Yeah, even if she is hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
But what I really liked about that film and Ready or Not is even if the characters are kind of only like kind of sketched out, they are fully believable. Mm-hmm. Like all the characters in Abigail are kind of just archetypes, but you get a sense of who they are as people, though. Mm-hmm. Particularly like Melissa Barrera in that film. She's a mother who's like a recovering drug addict, and you can see like her remorse with like she had to abandon her child and like trying to get back to her child. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't expect that in that movie. So I really like, even if a movie is like big and campy and over the top, if it still has like really interesting characters, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think one thing that Radio Silence, the duo, does great with their movies, as I've seen so far, is that, yeah, it's a lot of gratuitous violence, but like you're saying, they have these subplots and like character development that you don't normally see in the horror genre, because they just, bad guy stab.
Yeah. Yeah, and in Ready or Not too, and I have to say, I think that Ready or Not, Here I Come is like the perfect sequel title.
Oh, absolutely.
I was like, brilliant.
I'm trying to remember. There was something. Oh, it was the Now You See Me.
Yeah.
In like they didn't do Now You Don't
Yeah.
for the second one. I think they did it for like the fourth or fifth.
Yeah,
one,
I'm like, why did it take so long to get to that? That should have been the first sequel. But just the fact that, like I said earlier, that there is this development of these two sets of siblings, and you see their relationships, and it does kind of give what would otherwise be a silly movie a little bit of substance.
Yeah, absolutely. It made you care for the characters more.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, like at the end of the day, you're just watching a movie about a girl running away from bad people.
Yeah,
you know,
and killing them.
And
so she doesn't die.
Yeah, and she do be killing.
Yeah.
In great ways.
Yeah. And I have to say, I had no idea where the end was going.
Oh, not at all.
No clue. And I won't get into spoilers, but like it's going in one direction. And you're like, is she really doing this? How's she going to get out of this? And then she finds a way.
She does. She always finds a way. And one thing I will say about Samara Weaving as an actress, her scream is the perfect horror movie scream.
Yeah, it's guttural, and she does this like almost like banshee scream sometimes.
Yep.
Like there's no way I could even attempt to replicate it, but it's like so long and so pure, and it's beautiful.
It's amazing. Actually, I was watching an interview about Ready or Not, Here I Come, and it was talking about the fact that her uncle is Hugo Weaving. Mm-hmm. And I think she was talking, I think the interview was asking her if, her uncle was the reason she got into it. And she was just like, no, I didn't even know he was an actor until I was like 14. Yeah.
And so there's a fun little connection there because Hugo Weaving was in the Lord of the Rings movie, so Elijah Wood is in this, so yeah. And this is also a little bit of a reunion for the movie The Faculty.
Yes.
Because Elijah Wood and Sean, I can't pronounce his last name, were in that together. So that's kind of a fun little thing as well.
One thing I will say is there was a part with, at the end, well, I won't be any spoilers, but with the book. Did you notice Elijah Wood's character, like, trying to protect the book?
Yeah.
My brain immediately went to My Precious.
No, yeah. And this is also a movie that's all about everybody trying to get hold of a ring.
Yep. It is.
And then, like, there's the press junket for this movie has been fantastic. And, like, so many people have been like, this is about a ring. And Elijah was like, yeah, I know it's about a ring.
He's like, I didn't know what I signed myself up for.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Samara Weaving. The first thing I saw her in was The Babysitter.
Okay, so I think I've seen parts of that movie. I don't believe I've seen the ending.
Yeah, but that's another movie with a satanic cult and trying to kill people.
Yep.
But what I really liked about that movie is that Samara Weaving plays the babysitter for this boy, and they have this really strong connection. And then you find out that she was potentially going to sacrifice him to the devil, and then it's just like, well, I mean, I did really like you, but, devil stuff.
Devil stuff. Oh, gosh, yeah.
But that's a fun movie. Like, just speaking of, like, campy, over-the-top, like, horror movies, that's kind of, like, my sweet spot, too, and I love that movie. Sequel, not so much.
Sequel syndrome,
Yeah.
as I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, a lot of people, I think about things as simple as the Stranger Things series. I've heard like different stories about how the first season was supposed to be, supposed to be an anthology, or it was supposed to end at the first season, or it was supposed to end at the third season, and they kept going and they kept writing and they kept getting more complicated.
Yeah.
And I found that my sweet spot with that series is the three seasons. I like those. I don't have any qualms with them, because afterwards it's like a lot of sequels to movies the writers had such a great plot, but they didn't know what to do with it, and then they wrote it into the ground.
Yeah. I feel like, not that I've watched Game of Thrones, but everything I've heard, it's the same thing.
Yep.
Where, I mean, even the writer of the books didn't know how to end it.
Yep.
So they get to the series and they're like, we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't watch that, because everybody talks about how it's such a colossal disappointment.
Yeah. That makes me think of, do you know about Full Metal Alchemist versus Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Not really. I'm not that into anime.
So it's manga first, and one series, Full Metal Alchemist, went up to the ending of what was written, and then made its own ending. Everyone hated it so much that they made a new series,
Okay.
accurate to the manga, and it just sometimes you have such a great plot and you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I think about some of the fantasy books I read, and it's just like they've built up such worlds and we're watching it fall down.
Yeah. It's really hard to stick the ending, and I feel like if you're writing something, you should know what your ending is first.
Absolutely.
You need to have the goal. Then you can come up with all this other stuff in between. But if you have that end goal that you know you need to reach, that will help keep things focused. And I feel like a lot of times with like the fantasy genre, if you're just creating as you're going, sometimes you can get lost in the woods.
Yeah, it is a unfortunate side effect of it becoming so popular. And it along with movies, we get really excited. Have you seen the Spider-Verse movies? Mm-hmm. I love those movies. Yeah. And when Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse came out, they were like, oh, I think it came out sometime 2023, if I remember correctly.
Something like that, yeah.
And then they were like, oh, early 2024 is when you're going to get the third installment. Right. And then writer strike and pushbacks and whatever.
We're stuck waiting.
We're stuck waiting, but I'm okay with waiting, because I just know, like, I'm hoping for like a full formed story.
Yeah.
And a good ending.
Yeah, and also part of the reason it got delayed was because the animators weren't being treated properly.
Correct.
And now, hopefully, they are being treated the way they deserve to be treated, especially for those Spider-Verse movies, which are amazing.
Oh, they're...
The design of those films. So the animators were working hard, so they deserve to not be in grueling conditions and being paid what they deserved.
Yeah. It is a sad fact of the entertainment industry that a lot of creatives are not paid what they're deserved, and they're put under awful conditions. You know, it's a story we hear time and time again, and it's so unfortunate because you get masterpieces like the Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to hear. But I too hope that they are getting their just due because I cannot wait for that third movie.
Yeah. So we've put out a lot of recommendations. Like, if you like Ready or Not, watch all of these. But some other things, if you like Samara Weaving, there's a movie called Guns Akimbo.
Oh, yes. That's the one with Daniel Radcliffe, correct?
Yes, where he has guns bolted to his hands and he's being stalked by Samara Weaving. And he's kind of like he's like on a reality show sort of thing. Like, he didn't want to be, but he is. And so that's really good. She plays, I think it's Ted's daughter in Bill and Ted 3.
Okay.
So that's a completely different thing for her, because you're like, oh wait, she's doing sort of the Bill and Ted thing, and she's really good at it. So I just love her. I think she's really talented, and she has a movie coming out, I forget what it's called, with Jason Segel, where they're a married couple who are at a cabin together, and they're secretly both plotting to kill each other.
Yeah, I don't remember the title of that one either, but I'm patiently waiting for that.
I'm very excited for that movie. So yeah, lots of great stuff to watch. If you're a fan of Ready or Not, definitely go explore the rest of Samara Weaving's filmography, Kathryn Newton's filmography. She's even great in Detective Pikachu.
Yeah. I mean, my first interaction with her was Supernatural, and I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Blockers, teen comedy. It's actually really funny. She's in that as well. So lots of things to watch.
Yep.
I don't know when we'll do another one. We've actually done 2 back-to-back, which is insane because I went like 9 months without doing one.
Yeah.
But come back and get Lost in Movies again.